isn't usual for fans to see Dakota Johnson cast in Regency drama films like Persuasion. Now that the actress has taken on the challenge, let's find out the things she had to do to fit in. Role controversy. For many fans, Dakota actually pulled some crazy stunts to be able to feature in Persuasion, as the first adaptation of the film didn't involve her or start with her. The fans, who are aware that the project should have been for Sarah Snook, are displeased with Dakota for snatching their girl's role. Actually, the story started in a way that showed two different adaptations of the film, one by Fox and the other by Netflix, without any hitches, as they were meant to run separately. After all, there's room for everyone, but according to Sarah, Fox decided to abandon their ongoing project immediately after Netflix gave confirmation of theirs. She said, "The short story is that Netflix decided to greenlight their own, so Fox abandoned the one we were doing, which is disappointing because it was a great script and a director I really wanted to work with." She, however, agreed that it was a blessing in disguise, as it allowed her to be able to visit with family and friends. In her words, she said, "But had I been doing that, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to come back to Australia so soon and see family and friends." Despite Sarah's explanation of what happened, the fans aren't taking things lightly with Dakota and have gone ahead to attack her for being the reason why Sarah's version of Persuasion failed. After Netflix dropped the trailer featuring Dakota, one user said, "Sarah Snook, I will avenge you." Another fan of the actress said, "It's gonna be terrible. That should have been you, Sarah Snook." Another Sarah fan went so far as to say they'd boycott the film, saying, "We'll not be watching Netflix's Persuasion as an act of solidarity with Sarah Snook." With all the slander and hate speech directed at Dakota, her fans believe it's a crazy thing for her to be targeted for something that's clearly not her fault, and they believe it's something she'll have to deal with as long as she's featured in Persuasion. Different shades of Dakota. The 50 Shades of Grey star Dakota Johnson has always been the type who likes to be diverse in her acting career. Fans might think Dakota has a genre preference when it comes to acting and wonder what she'd be like in Persuasion. When Dakota had to speak on acting diversely, she said, "I feel like I haven't been pigeonholed into anything. I guess I could have gone in a certain direction, but that's just not what I was interested in." Actually, it doesn't take much to have Dakota to cast for roles due to her love for great scripts, and that's exactly why she decided to show up for Persuasion. According to her, she said, "I don't pay attention to the noise. I pay attention to if the script is great and the people involved are great." Luca Guadagnino, a director who has continuously worked with Dakota on varying projects, praised her interest in quality over stardom. He said, "As an actress, I love the choices she makes because she's doing something very intelligent and holistic. She's not looking for a character, period. She's looking for a great character that can be at the same time part of a great project to be involved with." Getting to be cast in Persuasion for Dakota is to represent a true culture that blends with the modern world of something she sometimes feels so deeply. The actress described what drew her to the period piece when she said, "I was drawn to the occasionally modernized language and themes, breaking the fourth wall and speaking directly to the audience, and the fact that a strong-willed woman remains as much a topic of discussion these days as it was then. A different era." For an actress making her official debut in a Regency drama, there'd be lots of learning and dedication that'll be poured into it. Period dramas are uniquely engaging and demanding. From knowing how to walk, poise, eat, and talk in a society, Dakota had to learn fast in order to keep up with the pace. From the trailer and pictures released to the fans to be able to get a first look into the film, the fans could see how Dakota blended perfectly, as if she was from the era, and she owned the world in the Regency drama by showing the fans what she was capable of. Working and having fun can go hand in hand, and that's what Dakota's experience on the set of Persuasion was like. The actress's being able to have fun and relax on set did, in some ways, help her to be able to fit into a role as Anelliot in the film. In an interview with Vogue, she spoke of how much she enjoyed being on Persuasion when she said, "Persuasion was so fun. Doing a Jane Austen film is the dream, and there are only a few of them, so I feel incredibly lucky." Dakota herself can't wait to see how her efforts to fit in pay off when Persuasion gets released in July 2022. She said, "The cast is amazing, and our director Carrie Cracknell is fantastic. I think they're still in the edit, but I'm so curious to see how it turns out." Direct to camera. With Persuasion, Dakota's character gets to enjoy many privileges that weren't available in other films she has featured in. She gets to carry the viewers along in the period era romantic film with some interesting glances and her catchy phrases. As the lead star of the show, her character Anne gets herself into her family differences with her romantic lifestyle. As a young woman, she felt obliged to listen to her family and do what they wanted by letting go of the man that she fell in love with, Frederick Wentworth, portrayed by Cosmo Jarvis, due to how lowly he was ranked in society. And despite her family's negative vibes, her desire for more is rekindled when she re-encounters the love of her life. She says, "Now we're worse than exes. We're friends." The intimately engaging trailer puts Anne in an awkward position of choosing between getting things back on with Frederick or going for a rich and approved partner, William Elliot, portrayed by Henry Golding. The end of the trailer had Dakota passing a very serious message to the viewers. She said, "Don't let anyone tell you how to live or who to love." Comical betrayal. Dakota is known for being unwittingly funny in many of her movies, and it's such a good trait that the fans can't get enough of. Her funny acts without even trying are some of the things that make her role in Persuasion even more appealing. Even though Netflix promised to follow through with the film by making sure it fully represents the novel by Jane Austen from which it's being adapted, it has, however, tilted from the original mature setting to a more liberal and comical one thanks to the screenwriters and leading star Dakota. Getting it right. If you haven't seen any of Dakota's star films, you'd think she was born and made for the Jane Austen imaginative timepiece, as she went overboard in getting it just right. The way Dakota's character starts her narration is exactly what draws the audience in to want more. She said, "I almost got married once, but he was a soldier without rank or fortune, and I was persuaded to give him up." The director Carrie Cracknell praises Jane's style of storytelling and also endorses how the real beauty of the film was brought out by the quirky and modern vibes Dakota came on screen with, which would help the younger generation connect with the period-era movie. Carrie thinks Jane's sense of humour was obvious enough in her writing, but that they've also added to it some sort of modernity with the hope that it would help to connect with a new or younger audience. Dakota held the film from the beginning to the end, and Carrie is thrilled to have a bubbling actor like that as a lead. The director, who thinks Dakota shares some similarities with her character Anne, said, "I think Dakota's humour comes from her intelligence. Anne sees things around her very clearly, and Dakota's just like that too. She's very watchful and very, very bright." She also discussed how Dakota gave her so much of her energy into getting it right by pushing to be funnier all the time and exploring the moments where they could find physical humour to help with some scenes. She said she'd also have loads of ideas while we were shooting that we would end up doing in the film. It's always the dream when the actors give you so much. Being Anne Elliot. Director Carrie saying that she saw so many similarities between Dakota and Anne is not a lip service. The relatable character Anne shows the audience her sharp perceptiveness to the issues surrounding her and gives the best direct-to-camera moments that allow everyone viewing to see themselves right there in the film with her, following and learning what it means to be Anne. Given how most Regency dramas are, the protagonists are usually buttoned up and all straightened up, but with Anne, the fans could see some liberality, something that's so rare in the era. Carrie discusses how the movie has set a record with Anne, saying, "This is ultimately a piece about longing, and elements of that are quite hard to dramatise." And speaking of the movie plot leaning towards a feminism spark, Carrie said even Anne had the idea, but yet to see herself in such light when she said, "Anne is sort of railing inside a structure that she doesn't quite see yet. This rebellious spirit of Anne is what Dakota has worn so beautifully, and that the fans can't wait to see more of." What do you think of this new movie? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.